There is a little pot of sweet basil sitting on my kitchen windowsill right now, planted in a chipped white teacup that my Grandma Hazel used to drink from. She kept a pot of basil beside her front door in Tennessee every single year of her life. She said a house with basil at the door is a blessed house. And I will tell you, folks would step onto her porch and say the very same thing. They would say her little place just felt good the minute you walked inside. Now, you could call that superstition. I did too, quietly, for a lot of years. But I have kept growing things in my own home for more than 5 decades now. And I will tell you plain, the houses I walk into that have living plants in them feel different from the houses that do not. And there are honest, down-to-earth reasons why. So today, come along with me, because I am going to walk you through the 15 plants that families all over the world have kept close for peace, for protection, and for plain old joy, and what each one truly does for a room. And stay with me all the way to the end, honey, because Grandma Hazel had one rule about where every single one of these 15 plants belongs in your house. She gave me her reason when I was a little girl, and it turns out she was exactly right, for a reason she never could have known. I am Debra Wilson. I have been growing flowers for more than 50 years, ever since I was a little girl at Grandma Hazel's elbow. And these days, my yard is the most colorful one on the block in my little Tennessee town. Everything I know about keeping plants happy indoors and out started at that woman's garden fence, and I have been passing it along ever since. Now, before we meet plant number 1, let me tell you what I mean when I say a spiritual plant, so we are talking honest with each other. In nearly every corner of the world, in Tennessee, farmhouses, and in villages on the other side of the ocean, people have kept certain plants close to the home for as long as anybody can remember. Some were kept for peace. Some were kept for protection. Some were kept as a welcome to guests. I am not here to tell you what to believe, honey. I am here to tell you what the old folks believed, and then to show you what I see with my own 2 eyes. Because a living plant truly does change a room. It gives you fragrance you did not have. It gives you color where there was none. It gives you something alive to check on every morning. And I promise you, that little morning visit does more for a person than most anything you can buy in a bottle. And every one of these 15 plants is easy. Nothing on this list needs a greenhouse or a green thumb. Anyone can do this. I promise you that. Now hold on to your question about where these plants ought to go in the house, because Grandma had one answer for all 15 of them, and I am saving it for the end, right where she would want it. Now, everything I am going to show you today, the feeding, the light, the gentle little corrections that keep a plant happy and blooming instead of sulking, comes right out of a little book I wrote called Debra's 30-Day Bloom Protocol. The subtitle says it plain. It is the forgotten week-by-week method for hydrangeas, roses, peonies, dahlias, and perennials. And when I say forgotten, I mean lovingly old-fashioned. The pantry and shed ways my Grandma Hazel used her whole life, tidied up and written out plain by me. It is 122 pages, and it walks you gently through 30 days, one day at a time. The first week you diagnose before you feed with the simple soil test Grandma swore by, and the sun audit that changes everything. The second week you make your corrections, feeding for flowers the honest way and learning the right cut at the right time. Weeks 3 and 4 you maintain, you bloom, and you plan next year's biggest show with one simple page for each flower. It is $17, marked down from $47, and honey, $17 against another summer of big green leaves. And no flowers is the easiest math in the garden. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up. Give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, honey. Let's go meet these 15 plants, starting with the one nearly everybody loves at first sniff. Number 1, lavender. Picture a clay pot of lavender sitting on a sunny windowsill, those soft gray-green stems and little purple flower spikes. For hundreds of years, folks tucked lavender into linen closets, under pillows, and by the bedroom window, because they believed it brought calm and restful sleep into a home. And here is the honest part. They were not wrong about how it makes you feel. You brush your hand across a lavender plant, and that clean, sweet smell rises up. And I dare you not to take a slower breath. My grandmother dried little bundles of it and hung them in the hall closet, and opening that closet door felt like a kindness. Now, one care tip, and only one, because I want you to succeed. Lavender wants sun, and it wants dry feet. Give it your sunniest spot. Let the soil dry out completely between waterings. That is it. Water it like you would water a cactus, not like a fern, and lavender will love you for years. Number 2, the peace lily. Now this one carries its meaning right in its name. A peace lily is a deep green houseplant that sends up those lovely white blooms shaped like little white flags. And for generations, folks have given peace lilies for new homes, for sympathy, and for fresh starts, as a living wish for calm. And I will tell you why I love this plant for beginners. It talks to you. When a peace lily gets thirsty, the whole plant droops down soft and sad, and 1 hour after you water it, it stands right back up like nothing ever happened. No guessing, no mystery. It is one of the most forgiving plants in this whole video, and it is happy in the kind of gentle light most living rooms already have. One tip: keep it out of hot, direct afternoon sun, which scorches those pretty leaves. A bright room, water when it droops, and a peace lily will bloom for you off and on all year long. Number 3, sweet basil. You knew this one was coming, honey, because it has been sitting in Grandma Hazel's teacup on my windowsill this whole time. In Italy, in Greece, in India, where a cousin of this plant called holy basil is treasured to this day. Basil by the door has meant blessing and welcome for centuries. Grandma kept hers by the front door every summer of her life. And the honest reason a pot of basil lifts a home is simple. It smells like supper and sunshine at the same time, and it feeds you. You pinch a few leaves for your tomatoes, for your sauce, for a sandwich, and the plant grows back thicker every time you do. That is the one tip that matters with basil. Pinch the tops. When you see it trying to send up a flower spike, pinch that right off, and pinch the top pair of leaves on the tall stems while you are at it. Every pinch makes 2 new branches. A pinched basil plant gets full and round like a little green pillow, and an unpinched one gets tall, thin, and tired. Number 4, rosemary. There is an old saying that goes back hundreds of years: rosemary for remembrance. Folks planted it by the gate and kept a pot by the kitchen, so the ones they loved and the ones they missed would stay close in memory. I keep a pot of rosemary on my back step for exactly that reason, and every time I walk past, I drag my hand through it, and that piney, warm smell follows me right into the house. That little habit, brushing the rosemary as you pass, is about the cheapest mood lifter I know. Now, rosemary has 2 rules, and if you keep them, it is nearly permanent. Rule 1, give it the most sun you have, 6 hours or better. That is 6 full hours, honey, so count them honest. Rule 2, do not baby it with rich soil and heavy water. Rosemary comes from dry, rocky hillsides, and it likes lean soil and a light hand with the watering can. Treat it a little tough and it thrives. Number 5, jasmine. Oh, this one is romance in a pot. Jasmine is a vining plant with little white star-shaped flowers, and in many parts of the world, those flowers stand for love, peace, and good fortune, worn in the hair for weddings, and planted by the porch for sweet evenings. Here is what makes jasmine special in a home. Many kinds release most of their perfume in the evening, so a pot of jasmine near where you sit at night gives you a little gift right at the end of the day, when a person needs it most. One tip for getting those buds to form: jasmine likes bright days and cool nights. In fall, a spot that drops down around 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit at night, like a cool sunroom or an enclosed porch, is exactly what tells the plant to set flower buds. Bright day, cool night. Remember that pair and your jasmine will bloom instead of just vine. Now, we are 5 plants in, and I want you to notice something before we go on. Every single one so far has asked for a particular kind of light. Keep noticing that, honey, because it is walking us straight toward Grandma Hazel's one rule, the one I promised you at the start, and I have not forgotten it. We are getting closer with every plant. Number 6, aloe vera. The old folks called aloe the protection plant, and in many countries a pot of aloe by the entrance was kept as a guardian of the home. In my grandmother's day, it had a more practical nickname too. It was the kitchen helper. The plant every farmhouse kept on the sill near the stove, and that old tradition is a sweet piece of family history all by itself. What I love about aloe today is that it is nearly impossible to fail with. Those thick, plump leaves are little water tanks. One tip, and it is the opposite of what your instincts say: water aloe rarely. Once every 2 to 3 weeks in summer, even less in winter, and always let the soil go bone dry first. That is every 2 to 3 weeks, honey, not every 2 to 3 days. More aloes are loved to death with a watering can than ever die of thirst. Number 7, the snake plant. Now, do not let the name put you off, because this may be the friendliest plant on the whole list. A snake plant has tall, upright leaves like green swords with golden edges, and in parts of Africa and Asia it has long been planted around homes as a ring of protection. Standing there so straight and strong, you can see why folks felt guarded by it. And here's the honest gift of a snake plant. It is the single toughest houseplant I know. It will take low light. It will take a dim corner. It will forgive you if you forget it for a month. If you have ever said the words, "I kill everything I bring home," this is your plant. And I mean that kindly. The one way to lose a snake plant is the same way you lose an aloe: too much water. Let it dry out completely, water it lightly, and walk away proud. Number 8, sage. Garden sage, with those soft, silvery, gray-green leaves, has been tied to cleansing, wisdom, and a fresh start in traditions all over the world. And even the name comes from an old word meaning to save or to heal. On my windowsill, sage earns its keep 2 honest ways. First, that silvery leaf is just plain beautiful next to all the green. Second, it is Thanksgiving in a pot. Rub 1 leaf between your fingers and you will smell the dressing your mother made. Sage wants what its cousin rosemary wants: plenty of sun and soil on the dry side. Give it a sunny sill, water when the top of the soil is dry, and snip leaves as you need them, because just like the basil, gentle harvesting makes it bushier and happier. Number 9, mint. If basil is the blessing plant, mint is the hospitality plant. Across the Middle East and right here in the South, offering mint in tea, in water, in a cold glass on a hot porch has meant welcome for as long as anyone can remember. A pot of mint by the kitchen door says, "Company is wanted here." And mint will grow for absolutely anybody. It is cheerful. It is fast. and it smells like a fresh start every time you brush it. But mint comes with one warning, said with love. Keep mint in its own pot, always. Never plant it loose in a flower bed because mint is a wanderer and it will happily take over the whole neighborhood. In a pot on the step, it is a perfectly behaved little guest. In the ground, it forgets its manners entirely. Number 10, eucalyptus. You have seen those silvery blue rounded leaves in pretty bouquets. And maybe you have heard of folks hanging a bundle of eucalyptus in the shower, so the steam carries that clean, fresh scent. For generations, it has stood for cleansing and fresh air, and honestly, one whiff tells you why. The whole plant smells like a deep breath. You can keep a small potted eucalyptus indoors, and here is its one honest demand. Light and plenty of it. This is a sun lover from Australia, so it needs your very brightest window, and it will sulk in a dim corner. Bright light, water when the top inch of soil is dry, and trim it now and then, and you can dry every trimming for the prettiest little bundles you ever gave a neighbor. We are 10 plants in, honey, and I hope you are starting to feel what I feel, that every one of these is really a small daily kindness you give yourself. Now hold that thought about light one more time. Sun lovers, shade lovers, we have met both kinds today. And Grandma Hazel's one rule about where they all belong is coming up right after these last 5. And I promise you, it is worth the wait, because it is the part that made me stop rolling my eyes at her old sayings for good. Number 11, chrysanthemums. In China and Japan, the chrysanthemum has stood for long life, joy, and honor for well over 1,000 years, celebrated with whole festivals in its name. Here at home, we know mums as those glorious mounds of autumn color on every porch step, gold and rust and deep red. A pot of blooming mums indoors near a bright window is one of the fastest ways I know to make a room feel celebrated. And the care tip for mums is one sweet little habit, deadheading. Deadheading just means pinching off each flower as it fades. That is all it is. Every spent bloom you pinch tells the plant to send up a fresh one. 2 minutes with your morning coffee and a pot of mums will hand you color for weeks, and weeks instead of days. Number 12, the African violet. Now this one might as well be called the grandmother's windowsill plant, because I do not believe there was a kitchen window in Tennessee in 1960 without one. Those little velvet leaves and those purple, pink, and white blossoms have stood for quiet devotion and faithfulness, and they earn it, because a happy African violet will bloom nearly all year round, right through the gray of winter when a soul needs color most. 2 gentle tips. First, they love bright light but not harsh direct sun, so a spot near the window rather than pressed against the glass. Second, water them from below. Set the pot in a saucer of room temperature water for 20 minutes and let it drink, because cold water splashed on those fuzzy leaves leaves spots. Room temperature from below. That is the whole secret the church ladies never wrote down. Number 13, the orchid. I call the orchid the patience teacher. In many traditions, orchids stand for beauty, refinement, and strength, and I will add my own meaning, learned right on my kitchen table. An orchid teaches you that slow is not the same as stuck. A moth orchid, the kind you see at every grocery store, will hold its blooms for 2 and even 3 months, longer than nearly any flower you can grow. And it is easier than its reputation, honey. Bright light but never direct sun, and water it about once a week with lukewarm water, letting it drain completely, because an orchid's roots hate sitting in a puddle. When the blooms finally drop, do not you dare throw it out. Keep watering. Keep it in its bright spot and be patient, because it is quietly building the strength to do the whole show again. Number 14, the scented geranium. This is the old porch plant, the welcome plant. And if you never met one, you are in for a treat. Scented geraniums are grown not for big flowers, but for their leaves, which release the most wonderful perfumes when you rub them. There are rose-scented ones, lemon ones, even ones that smell like nutmeg. Folks kept them by the front steps, so every guest got a friendly scent on the way in, and they would root little cuttings in a jar of water to hand to visitors, which is my favorite tradition on this whole list, a plant whose custom is generosity. Care is simple. Sun, the more the better, and soil on the dry side, just like its rosemary and sage cousins. And do take cuttings, honey. A 4-inch snip in a jar of water on the sill will grow roots in a few weeks, and then you have a gift. And number 15, the miniature rose. You did not think I would give you 15 plants and leave out the rose, did you? The rose has meant love in nearly every culture on this earth, for about as long as people have been writing things down. And a miniature rose, a true rose, no taller than your forearm, brings that meaning right onto the windowsill. It is the flower of the heart living in the house. Now, of all 15, this one is the most honest with you about what it needs. And what it needs is real sun, your sunniest south-facing window, at least 6 hours. That is 6 hours. The same honest count I gave you for the rosemary. Water when the top inch of soil is dry. Snip off faded blooms just like the mums. And in summer, let it vacation outside on the porch, where it will thank you double. And that, honey, brings us to the part I promised you at the very start. 15 plants, and one rule from Grandma Hazel about where they belong. Here's what she told me, standing at her front door with that pot of basil, when I was maybe 8 years old. She said, put your plants where the morning finds them. She meant the east side of the house, the windows and the doorway that catch the first light of the day. And her reason was pure grandma. She said the morning sun is the kind sun, and a plant that wakes up with the light keeps the house company all day long. For years I thought that was just a sweet saying. It is not. It is the single best piece of houseplant advice I have ever been given. And here's the honest reason why. Morning light is bright but gentle. It comes in low and soft in the coolest hours of the day, so a plant in an east window gets all the light it needs to grow and bloom without the scorching heat that afternoon sun pours through a west window. The very same plant, moved from a hot west sill to a bright east one, will hold its water longer, keep its leaves unburned, and bloom better. And I have watched it happen in my own house more times than I can count. And there is one more piece. The piece Grandma understood better than anybody. The east window is where you are in the morning. It is the kitchen sill, the breakfast table, the front door. When your plants live where your morning happens, you actually see them every day. And you catch the drooping peace lily. You pinch the basil. You deadhead the mum. All in 2 minutes with your coffee. A plant that gets seen thrives. And honey, a thriving plant, growing and green and blooming, is where all of that good feeling in a home honestly comes from. Grandma called it the kind sun. She was exactly right, and she never needed a reason fancier than watching her plants. And that little rule right there, watch first, then give the plant what it truly needs, is exactly how my whole book works. One gentle day at a time for every flower in your yard. Debra's 30-day bloom protocol takes that same thinking. The sun audit, the simple soil test, the honest feeding, the right cut at the right time, and lays it out day by day for 30 days, written plain for hydrangeas, roses, peonies, dahlias, and perennials. If you have got a big green stubborn plant giving you all leaves and no flowers, this little book is my grandmother's recipe card for fixing it, tidied up in 122 pages, and it is $17, marked down from 47. That is less than one hanging basket, honey, for every bloom season you have left. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So there you have it. 15 plants the old folks kept close for peace and joy. One easy care tip for each. And Grandma Hazel's morning sun rule to put every one of them in the right spot. Now, did your mother or your grandmother have her own flower trick? Share it below, honey. Those little family ways are exactly the kind of thing worth keeping. I read every single one, and next time I'm going to show you the 1-cup kitchen left over my Grandma Hazel poured around her roses every June, the one that kept her blooms coming strong into September while the neighbors' roses quit in July. You will not believe how simple it is. Now go on out there and get your hands in the dirt, honey. I'll see you in the garden.